To transform, the first step is to disappear from everything that is familiar, the noise, the distractions, the people, the expectations, and focus solely on one thing, yourself. You might be thinking, why would I need to disappear? Isn't the goal to show up, be seen, make an impact? Yes, but first, you need to understand something crucial. You cannot truly show up until you've made a decision to show up for yourself. It's time to step back and get reconnected with the real, unfiltered version of who you are, not the version the world has labeled you to be. You see, transformation isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting all the unnecessary clutter that stands between you and the person you're meant to become. And to do that, you've got to learn how to embrace a period of intentional disappearance. This isn't about hiding or avoiding life. No, it's about retreating from the outer world long enough to engage in the work that has to be done on the inside. This is where it starts. Getting clear on your vision, your values, and your purpose. Things you might have pushed to the background in the chaos of daily life. Now imagine for a moment, if you could just disappear from all the distractions and noise around you. What if you took a break from your social media feeds, your relationships, your obligations, even your job for a time? What if you gave yourself the space to simply be? This isn't about cutting yourself off forever, but about finding stillness long enough to hear your own thoughts, your own desires, and your own truth. We live in a world that demands our attention constantly. Everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone has something they need you to do. But in order to truly transform, you've got to remove yourself from that constant pressure, even if it's just for a while. Here's the truth. If you want to break free from the constraints that keep you stuck, you've got to first free yourself from the distractions that cloud your thinking. If you're constantly pulled in different directions, how are you ever going to clear a picture of who you need to be or where you need to go? Transformation starts in the quiet moments. It starts with the decision to put yourself first, without guilt, without shame, without worrying about what others might think. You owe it to yourself to step away from everything for a while, to retreat, to disappear into your own world and focus on your inner work. But it's not just about physical disappearance. It's about mental disappearance as well. You need to clear your mind of the limiting beliefs, the past failures, the fears, and all the negative self-talk that's been playing on a loop. These are the things that prevent you from seeing your true potential. They convince you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that the dream is too big or the gap is too wide. If you don't disappear from that inner dialogue, how can you possibly create the space for a new, more empowering one to take root? And this inner work isn't always comfortable. It's easy to distract yourself with the busyness of life and never confront the deep, sometimes uncomfortable truths about who you are, what you've been through, and what's been holding you back. But transformation requires you to look deep within, to sit with yourself long enough to uncover the things you've been avoiding. When you disappear from the external noise, you make room for this internal excavation. You've got to get real with yourself and take responsibility for where you are. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. This process of disappearing, of shedding the old layers, letting go of the distractions and confronting the truths is not a one-time event. It's a continual practice, a commitment to retreating regularly to check in with your own growth. It's like going to the gym. You don't just work out once and expect to be in great shape forever. You've got to make it a habit, a ritual. And the more often you disappear to do this work, the more you'll build the muscle of personal growth, the more you'll be able to hear your inner voice clearly, guiding you toward the changes that need to happen. And here's something important to realize. When you disappear from the external noise, you also disappear from the old identity that has been keeping you trapped. The version of you that's stuck in a job you hate, or in toxic relationships, or in the cycle of fear and doubt. It's time to leave that version behind. The person you've been up until this point is not the person you were meant to become. But in order to make that shift, you've got to let go of the old identity and take on the new one And that starts with stepping away, disappearing from the life you know, just long enough to allow that transformation to take root. Once you've given yourself the space to disappear, to disconnect, to retreat, and to reflect, you create room for a new kind of clarity. It's in this space that your true self can begin to emerge. And once you discover who you really are, what your true calling is, what your true strengths are, what your true desires are, there's no turning back. You've opened the door to a transformation that no one can take from you. To truly disappear and transform, one of the hardest but most crucial steps is to detach yourself from your past. Your past, every experience, every decision, every mistake, every triumph, is a powerful force, but it's also something that can hold you back from stepping into the new person you are meant to be. You see, transformation isn't just about changing your actions or your environment. It's about completely shedding the old version of yourself. And that means letting go of the past. Now, I want you to understand that this isn't about denying your past or pretending it didn't happen. It's about understanding that you are not the sum total of everything you've been through. You are not defined by the mistakes you made or the wrong turns you took. You are not stuck with the identity that's been assigned to you based on what happened before. The past is simply a series of events, a chapter that has already been written, but you hold the pen to the rest of your story. So the question becomes, how do you free yourself from it? How do you detach from everything that you've been so you can step into who you're supposed to become? It starts with the understanding that you are not the same person you were yesterday. You can't afford to carry the weight of past failures, regrets, or the opinions of others into your future. Every time you look back and relive those old stories, you're letting them hold you hostage. And the more you carry that baggage, the less energy you have to move forward. Transformation requires you to release that weight, to stop dragging the chains of yesterday behind you. But here's the thing. Detaching from your past doesn't mean erasing it. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen or sweeping it under the rug. It means looking at your past with honesty and with clarity, and then making the choice to no longer let it dictate your present or future. Think about it. If you're still holding on to past relationships that didn't work out, past jobs that didn't fulfill you, or past failures that have haunted you, how can you expect to move forward? You're holding on to something that no longer serves you. You need to come to a point where you can say, that was then, and this is now. The most powerful people I know didn't get to where they are by letting their past define them. They got there by recognizing the power in starting fresh, by giving themselves permission to move on, by cutting ties with who they were in order to become who they are meant to be. But this is something you have to decide. No one can make that choice for you. It's a decision to stop living in the shadow of your past and to start stepping into the light of your future. Detaching from the past also means letting go of old mindsets that keep you stuck. You may have grown up in a world that told you there were limits to what you could achieve, or that success was reserved for certain people, or that failure meant you weren't good enough. Those mindsets are nothing but chains, and they will keep you trapped. To transform, you need to break free from those old beliefs that were handed down to you, whether they came from your family, your upbringing, or your environment. You need to stop believing the lies you've been told about what's possible for you. This process of detachment is a daily practice. It's about catching yourself every time you begin to slip into those old ways of thinking, every time you start to identify with that past version of yourself. You must choose to rise above it. And I'll tell you this, it's not easy. You'll face moments when you're tempted to fall back into those old patterns, those old relationships, those old habits. But that's where your power lies. The moment you choose to let go, even if it's difficult, you begin to rewrite your story. You begin to create the future you've been dreaming of. The most important thing you can do in this process is to forgive yourself. Forgiveness isn't just for other people, it's for you. You've got to forgive yourself for the mistakes, the missed opportunities, the decisions you wish you could undo. If you don't, you'll stay trapped in the cycle of regret. And regret will keep you stuck. But when you forgive yourself, you free yourself. You give yourself the grace to move forward, to make new decisions, and to grow into the person you're meant to be. And while you're letting go of the past, you must also release the need for validation from others. So often we cling to the approval of others because it makes us feel safe. We seek affirmation from our parents, our friends, our partners, sometimes even from strangers on social media. But here's the truth. You don't need anyone's permission to become the person you are meant to be. Your transformation is yours, and it's not up for negotiation. When you release the need for external validation, you step into your own power. You realize that your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. You are enough just as you are. Detaching from your past is the most liberating thing you can do for yourself. It allows you to step into your true potential, free from the shackles of yesterday's mistakes and yesterday's story. When you do this, you open up a world of possibilities. You give yourself the chance to start fresh, to rewrite your narrative, and to create a life that's aligned with the future you desire. So make the decision today. Detach from your past, forgive yourself, and step boldly into your transformation. Now, let's talk about the power of disappearance. How stepping away from everything familiar and creating space for new beginnings is one of the most essential steps in your transformation. When you decide to transform, it's not just about adjusting a few things here and there. No, it's about completely resetting your environment, your mindset, and even your relationships. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is disappear for a while. And by that, I don't mean running away or avoiding your responsibilities. I mean intentionally withdrawing from everything that's currently in your life so you can make room for the new you to emerge. Think about it. We live in a world that is constantly pulling us in 1,000 different directions. We're told we need to be more, do more, achieve more. Everyone has an opinion, an expectation, or a demand. But in the midst of all of that, how do you ever find the space to hear your own voice? How do you create the mental and emotional space necessary to truly transform? You have to disappear from the noise for a time. You have to be willing to step back, retreat, and focus solely on your inner growth without the distractions of the outside world. It's like hitting the reset button. When you disconnect from all the external pressures, you finally give yourself the chance to recalibrate, to reevaluate your priorities, and to get clear on your vision. This is one of the most overlooked and powerful aspects of transformation. People often think transformation is a straight path, step by step, with everything in front of them at all times. But true change often happens when you're willing to pull back, to disappear from everything you know, and to spend time in isolation where the only thing you have to focus on is yourself. This retreat isn't about hiding. It's about strategically creating space for the growth you need. You've probably heard the phrase, silence is golden. Well, in the case of your transformation, it's absolutely true. When you disconnect from everything that's trying to pull at you, you finally hear your own thoughts, your own desires, and your own vision clearly. You start to tune into what really matters and realize how much of your time, energy, and focus has been spent on things that don't align with the person you're becoming. It's in the silence, the stillness, that the most powerful insights can emerge. But disappearing doesn't mean you're shutting yourself off from the world forever. This is about being strategic in your absence. Think about it this way. If you want to build a new house, you can't keep the old structure standing while you try to build something new. You've got to tear down the old house first. You've got to clear out the space, get rid of the clutter, and create a foundation for what's to come. Your transformation is no different. You have to clear out the old beliefs, the old habits, the old environment that no longer serve you, and allow new ideas, new energy, and new possibilities to flow in. Now, this process of disappearance can be uncomfortable. It's not easy to step away from everything familiar. It's natural to feel a sense of anxiety or guilt when you're not constantly in the mix of things. We've been conditioned to believe that we need to always be present, always be visible, always be doing something. But the truth is, the more you allow yourself to disappear, the more you'll gain clarity and the more power you'll have in your transformation. This is about disconnecting from the external noise so that you can reconnect with your true self. And here's another key aspect of this. You have to disappear from your old identity. You cannot step into something new while you're still holding on to who you were. That version of you, whether it's the one who struggled, the one who doubted, the one who played small, it doesn't belong in the new chapter. So disappearing means letting go of that old self, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. This process is difficult because it requires you to let go of who you thought you were and embrace who you're becoming. But that's where the magic happens. The people who truly transform are the ones who are willing to step from their current life and disappear long enough to reconnect with their purpose, their vision, and their potential. They stop worrying about other people's opinions, stop getting distracted by the noise of society, and make the conscious decision to focus entirely on themselves. This isn't selfishness. It's necessary. If you're going to build a life that aligns with your dreams, you must give yourself the space to work on yourself first. This disappearance doesn't mean you're running away from your problems. It means you're choosing to remove yourself from anything that's holding you back. It's about having the courage to create distance from the things and people that aren't supporting your growth. It's about choosing to put your energy into the things that are building you up rather than draining you. And yes, it can be a little uncomfortable at first. It might feel like you're going against the grain of everything you've known, but trust me, it's in that space of discomfort that the deepest transformation happens. By disappearing for a while, you give yourself the opportunity to show up better for the world. You come back stronger, clearer, and more focused. You return with the power to serve others because you've taken the time to serve yourself. This period of disappearance is essential in the process of transformation. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. So give yourself permission to step away. Disappear from the noise, the distractions, and the pressure. Allow yourself the space to grow, to evolve, and to emerge as the person you are always meant to be for many. Transformation is not a one-time event, it's a process. It's something that happens over time through consistent effort, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to your own growth. I know it can be tempting to think that one moment of change is all you need, but real, lasting transformation happens in the day-to-day, in the small, consistent choices you make. And the first thing you must understand about that process is this: you cannot skip the struggle. You cannot skip the transformation requires that you face the hard truths about yourself and your life. And it requires you to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. The process of rebirth is often like labor. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. There are moments when it feels like you can't go on, like you're being stretched beyond your limits. But here's the thing. That discomfort is where the magic happens. It's where your growth takes root. Every time you push through the pain, every time you confront the obstacles standing in your way, you're strengthening yourself. You're building resilience, character, and the mindset necessary to take on bigger challenges in the future. So don't run from the discomfort. Don't shy away from the hard work. It's all part of the process, and it's all necessary for your transformation. What makes this journey even more challenging is that the person you're becoming is unfamiliar. You're stepping into new territory, into a space where you haven't been before, and that can be intimidating. But here's something important. The more you embrace that unfamiliarity, the more you embrace the discomfort of it, the more you begin to realize that you are capable of handling it. You are capable of more than you ever thought possible. The struggle you face now is preparing you for something far greater. It's important to realize that transformation isn't just about changing your actions. It's about changing the way you think and approach. A rebirth requires a complete shift in mindset. It's about developing a mindset that welcomes growth, that welcomes challenge, and that welcomes failure as part of the process. Most people run from failure. They're afraid of it. But when you're in the process of transformation, failure is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. Each failure is simply a lesson. Each failure is feedback. It's showing you where you need to adjust, where you need to grow, and where you're getting stronger. The key to enduring through the rebirth process is resilience. Resilience is what allows you to face adversity and keep going. It's what allows you to get knocked down and rise again, each time with more strength and more clarity. This is why embracing the process is so crucial. The journey may not always be easy, but it's necessary. You can't skip the tough parts. You can't skip the times when it feels like everything is falling apart. That is when you are being remade. And it's in those moments that you have to remind yourself that the discomfort is not permanent. It's just part of the process. Another critical aspect of the rebirth process is patience. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want things to happen quickly, and we want results now. But transformation doesn't work that way. Real change takes time. It's like planting a seed and waiting for it to grow into something beautiful. You don't see the progress immediately, but behind the scenes, it's happening. Day after day, inch by inch, the work you're doing on yourself is adding up. And one day you'll look back and realize just how far you've come, but it takes time and it requires patience. If you expect immediate results, you'll get frustrated. But if you understand that every small effort you make is adding to your growth, you'll be able to endure the journey with more peace and focus. This rebirth is also about understanding the importance of self-discipline. Discipline is the backbone of transformation. Without it, you'll never make it through the tough times. Without it, you'll quit when things get hard. But with discipline, you develop the strength to keep going even when you don't feel like it. It's about making the right choices day in and day out, even when you can't see the immediate results. The small, disciplined actions you take every day add up. They build momentum. They build a new life, a new identity, and a new way of thinking. You must develop the discipline to keep showing up for yourself, even when it's difficult, even when it feels like nothing is changing, because I promise you it is. And finally, the process of rebirth requires faith. Faith that you are on the right path. Faith that the work you're doing is worth it. Faith that even in the moments when you feel like giving up, the transformation is happening. Faith that the person you are becoming is going to be stronger, more capable, and more powerful than you ever thought possible. It's easy to lose sight of that faith when the road gets tough. It's easy to doubt yourself. But this is where resilience, patience, and discipline come into play. They all work together to keep your faith alive. And if you stay committed, if you continue to show up and do the work, you will see the results. The process of rebirth is challenging, but it's also the most rewarding part of the transformation. Embrace it. Embrace the struggle, embrace the discomfort, and understand that every single step forward, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to the person you're meant to be. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Keep going, keep evolving, keep trusting the process, because on the other side of this struggle is the best version of you.